because I know a lot of y'all are on this wave and I don't want y'all to fall behind, okay? This is 2024, let's get with it, okay? But before we get into it, please make sure to like and subscribe. It would really mean a lot. And it'll also help share this video with other people that you know would be interested in this topic, okay? So definitely please make sure to do that. Real quick, okay, we gonna go over some little housekeeping rules. Let me bring this down. There you go. First of all, obviously, please be nice in the chats. If you're a troll, you can troll away, it's fine. But like, I just want my community to know that, if anybody is trolling in the chats, just ignore them. Okay, literally just ignore them. It's okay. It's okay. It's not that big of a deal. Okay, so today I wanted to talk about how to get your supernatural abilities. I know a lot of y'all are very interested in this topic, and I know a lot of y'all want to start to tap into those abilities that y'all know you have, okay? So a lot of y'all already experienced psychic abilities, and I've talked about that previously, but today I really wanted to talk about supernatural abilities. I'm looking down my computer. I have my little notes right here. So the first thing that y'all need to do is y'all need to stop saying that you don't have supernatural abilities. That's the first thing you need to do, okay? This is really important because you really need to start to tap into your ability and tap into your innate ability to manifest your reality, right? Manifest these abilities that you know you have, you know you want to tap into, but you keep on telling the universe, oh, I don't have them, or I can't believe that I have them, or I don't believe that I have them. You need to start believing it. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to tell everybody, and I wouldn't necessarily tell everybody, to be honest. But what I would do is just start affirming to yourself, yeah, I have these abilities, or I have this specific ability that I desire, okay? And for a lot of y'all, I know a lot of y'all are into like astrology and numerology too. That's going to play a part in what abilities are easier for you to access than others, okay? That's like another big one. And I think at some point I'll come up with a video about that. But today I just wanted to focus on like kind of tapping into that, right? So stop saying that you don't have them. That's the other thing, okay? I know that, when we were kids and we were like, look, dad, or look, mom, I can fly, I can be invisible. We were like really tapped into that space, that limitless space. And we were told by our parents, maybe by an adult, you don't really have abilities, you can't really fly, all of that stuff. I really want you to start to deprogram your mind out of that old mindset that you were programmed to believe as a kid, okay? You really need to tap out of that. Whether, you're doing affirmations or meditations or visualizations, you could do all three if you want, right? I would spend 21 days just focused on that ability. And what I mean by that is just consistently doing something to affirm that you have those abilities, right? So you do it for 21 days and then you stop and you let go and you kind of detach from wanting that, right? Because that's the thing, remember we live in a dualistic plane. So you need to want it and then you need to not want it in order to really attract that into your life, okay? You need to do both. If you don't do both, it's not gonna work as much, okay? So make sure you're spending that time, that intention to really know that you have those abilities, and then make sure to detach, or you can detach before and then do it after, however you want to do it. But my point is, you need to make sure that you are telling yourself repeatedly, so that your conscious, your subconscious, and your superconscious, which your superconscious kind of already knows this, but you want to make sure that it's all in alignment, okay? So stop saying you don't have them. And especially because this is not true, right? All of us have experienced telepathy. That's like one of the most basic powers that every human being has, is telepathy. So psychic abilities, okay? A lot of psychics, a lot of intuitives, they are tapped into this, right? And a lot of women watching too. Y'all, every woman has an intuition, right? So again, you guys are already tapped into these abilities. It's really about just reprogramming your mind and really kind of getting out of that really like colonist mindset, okay? The oppressor mindset. Okay, so the next one is stop believing it's impossible. Y'all need to stop believing that it's impossible, because again, we know that it is possible, right? We've had these abilities, we've experienced these abilities, we've experienced telepathy, we've experienced what else? Like some of y'all have already experienced like telekinesis, or even I know somebody who has had the ability to stop time. So we have these abilities. We just need to start believing it, right? Okay, I cannot pronounce your name, but But yeah, it says telepathy. Yeah, it is possible. It's definitely possible. Okay, so the next thing is stop viewing TV shows and movies as separate from this reality, okay? You have to remember every single thing that human beings create, it comes from this reality in some way, shape, or form. So you really need to stop thinking that it's separate from this reality, especially when you watch TV, cartoons, all of it. I want you to remember when you're watching anything that has to do with supernatural abilities, superpowers, any of it, I really want y'all to watch it and affirm to yourself, this is from this reality. This is based off of this reality. I can do what they're doing on the TV screen, okay? Because remember, when we start to watch this programming, it's programming into our minds, right? So when you watch videos or TV shows, there's a part of our brain that is actually seeing it as something that is possible. But again, we have that other part of our brain that's telling us that, oh, it's not possible. Oh, I can't do that. But again, that's false programming that was programmed to us when we were younger, right? So again, I want you to start watching these TV shows. Not all of them too. Some of them I wouldn't really recommend, and maybe I'll get into that in a second, or maybe in another video. But I want y'all to really like watch these movies, watch these TV shows, and kind of cherry pick what you want to take from it, but watch them affirming to yourself, I have these abilities, I can do that too, I intend to do that soon, okay? But again, do it with caution, learn from the programming, right? Because a lot of these TV shows and programming, it's a way of governments, people in higher powers, we're gonna put that higher powers, to tell us the truth. So, you know, obviously watch it with that awareness, with that consciousness, okay? It's really, really, really important. Okay, so the next thing is tap into your psychic abilities. So this is kind of like the basis of any like superpower, supernatural abilities, is just psychic abilities. And again, I say psychic abilities because everybody has them, right? On a basic level, right, therapists have psychic abilities. They're always using psychic abilities when they're in therapy, whether or not they address it or not, right? But psychic is coming from your psyche, is coming from your mind, right? A lot of therapists, they use their intuition to really guide their clients into healing themselves or undoing that trauma loop, right? A lot of people use this, right? Even doctors, you know, they're trained in the medical field, right? But they also still use their intuition whenever they're doing some kind of procedure, or anybody who's doing kind of that kind of what do you want to call it, anybody who's doing new work, new research, you have to use that type of that you have to use your intuition to do that work, to kind of keep you going and to really be at the forefront of any research that you're doing, right? So we're always using intuition. We're always tapped into those psychic abilities. So I want y'all to really just keep on affirming that you have those abilities, grow them even more so that you can accelerate your supernatural abilities and supernatural powers. Okay, so the next one is you need to change your perception of your world. So this is the biggest obstacle that a lot of people have when it comes to this. A lot of people, they don't change their perception of the world. They still see the world as something separate than them. They still see people as something separate than them, right? So this is the first thing that y'all need to do. You need to stop separating yourself from the rest of the world. You can start doing this by stop separating yourself from other people. Anybody who you talk to, even if you disagree with them, even if you don't agree with everything you're saying, I need you to start seeing them as, hey, you know, they are a reflection of a part of myself that maybe I haven't tapped into yet. They are part of me, right? Because when it comes to, you know, the people who exist now, who do have these abilities, or these beings that do have these abilities, these abilities, they don't see the world as separate than them, right? They see the world as of them, right? And I want to, and like, it's not just the world, right? It's like my computer, this phone, you know how I'm moving my hands like this? When people really tap into their like supernatural abilities, the ease with, how I put this, the ease that I move my hands like this, that's the ease that they are able to move other objects too, because they don't see it as something separate than them, right? Another example is like when Jesus walked on water, it's because Jesus perceived that water as something of him that he can then, like, as an extension of his reality, right? It wasn't something that he didn't see water like we see water. I don't know how to explain it, but he didn't perceive it like we see water, right? He didn't see water as something you could dive into. He perceived it and expected it to behave as, ooh, how long is, what is going on? Okay. He expected it to behave as something that is solid. And so when he expected that, that's what happened. He was able to walk on water. But you need to start, you got to really start perceiving everything as something that, or perceiving the world as something that is extending from you. You have to perceive the world as an extension of yourself instead of just, how do I put this? Instead of something separate than you, right? So then the other thing you can do is learn the fastest ways to increase your abilities. That's the other thing. I did a video of this about 2 weeks ago. You can check out that video. But one of the best ways to accelerate and make your abilities increase even faster is by working with a master, right? Working with somebody who has excelled in this field. A lot of them are hiding because we've been perceived to really tap into that fear mindset and live in that fear mindset. We need to step out of that fear mindset, step into love. That's what the whole love and light thing is about. It's not about negating the shadows. It's about getting us to a space, a mindset space collectively so that we can all elevate, right? But if we stay in that fear, it's going to really, it's not going to enable you to have those spiritual abilities or psychic powers. Like, you need to start creating a space of love so that we live in a space of love, so that there's no more fear, so that people can have these abilities and use them, you know, for good, and just to really empower themselves and empower the world to really evolve as humans, right? So check out that video. I list, I think, more than 10 ways of how to increase your abilities super fast, okay? I'm not going to go through it in this video because then it'll be like a really long video. The next thing is you need to heal any trauma, and you have to start saying, I am healed, okay? So this is for those of y'all who have been on that healing journey, who have, you know, you've been on that healing journey and it's been years, okay? For some of y'all, decades. It's not supposed to be years or decades. You're supposed to go into that healing journey. I mean, for some of you, if you really want it to be, it can, you know, but I'm just saying it doesn't have to be. But when you are, you know, healing your trauma, healing or on your healing journey, you need to start saying, I am healed. And you need to go on that healing journey with intention, okay? Obviously, like I've said so many times before, the way to kind of, the shortcut to this is just to do what you're passionate about and do it so much that you just let go of the past trauma. You let go of the past, the people in your past who have done you wrong, okay? But you have to heal that trauma. It is so important, okay? And this is going to be important for a lot of y'all who have like tapped into your abilities and you want to expand your abilities, but you haven't been able to do that. It's like, you know, you fast, you pray, you meditate, you do all of these things. But I bet you for a lot of y'all who are like in that space where you've aligned your body and your minds, you still need to let go of some of that trauma from the past, okay? And that's something I can help y'all with. But you need to really let go of that trauma. And you need to heal that trauma. I don't want to say this. You can get help, but you need to learn how to do it yourself, right? Because I don't want y'all to like rely on somebody else to heal your trauma every time something comes up or every time you get triggered, right? I want y'all to have the ability to do this on your own. So no matter where you're at, no matter what situation you're in, you have the tools to step out of that trauma. You have the tools to really tell yourself, no, we can't get through this. You know, no, like that was me in the past. Me now, this isn't going to bother me. I'm going to keep on going so I can progress myself, right? You need to get on that. It is so important, okay? So I want you to start healing any trauma. And the biggest healing work that a lot of people miss, right? Because a lot of people, they go to these retreats. They go to really great healers. They go to enlightened beings. And I'm gonna tell you right now, no matter how much money you spend, you cannot avoid doing this. And the thing that a lot of people spent years on this healing journey, never getting anywhere, doing the ayahuasca retreats, doing all of this different stuff, and it still came up for them because they didn't just spend the time to reflect. I'm telling y'all right now, this is the biggest obstacle for a lot of y'all, okay? So just spend time to reflect. And what I mean by that, if you need to, is you need to be, not even go to a retreat. You need to do your own retreat. You need to go to another place, maybe even for 3 days. Maybe it's like, you know, in the forest, or just at like an energetically clean space, okay? But you need to go there and you need to just kind of reflect. You need to ask yourself those questions, spend 3, 4, 5 hours a day, you know, working on that. But you need to reflect. I'm telling y'all right now, a lot of people, they don't do this and then they're on that healing loop. I don't want y'all to be in that loop. I want y'all to get out of it, okay? Again, this is the biggest obstacle for a lot of y'all. Well, probably one of the two, right? The first one's gonna be programming your mind. You don't have the right program in your mind. You don't see the world as something coming from you. You see the world as something separate from you. But y'all need to reflect, okay? I cannot emphasize that enough. Reflect, 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 okay? And try to reflect from an outsider's perspective, okay? Try to see the whole story, okay? Try to see, and not even an outsider's perspective, try to see it as a witness, right? When God sees the work that we do, experiences that we go through, God is seeing it as a witness. God isn't judging, okay? It's literally saying, oh, you know, this person, this happened to this person, and that's why this person is doing that to that person, right? You need to start that reflection, okay? So again, healing any trauma, that's going to be a big one for a lot of y'all, okay? But that's going to help you tap into and unlock your supernatural abilities, okay? The last and certainly not least is food, okay? That's the other thing. Now, this is debatable. If you have the right mindset, okay, sure, you don't have to change your diet, okay? Because I do know some people, they don't change their diet and they're perfectly fine. But I will say this, if you really want to really tap into your light body version, you definitely, absolutely need to change what you eat. You want to eat lighter, right? Especially if you get into like work like levitation or floating. It's not flying, it's floating. We'll get into that in another video. But you absolutely need to be a light body. You need to be light, okay? That is super important. So eating the right foods is going to help you with this, okay? Eating meat it's just very dense, right? So for example, like even water is really dense, right? Have you ever like tried gone on a hike and try to carry water? It's heavy, right? It's easier to just drink the water before rather than carry like 1 or 2 liters in your bag. It's heavy, right? So when we want to tap into that light body, we're going to have to work with like modes of fasting. That's like a really great way to do that. Obviously, do it bit by bit, okay? If you've never fasted, start with intermittent fasting, okay? Work your way up to it. But you absolutely need to start looking at what you're eating, okay? Processed foods, obviously. Now I have to say sometimes, you know, I cheat sometimes. But what I'm saying is I want y'all to have a diet that is majority, okay? Foods that are light, okay? Foods that are, that's the only way to put it, foods that are light, right? So foods that really need the sunlight to grow. So fruits, okay? Vegetables, yeah, but fruits, because fruits are more natural. They're more like cavemen had fruits, right? In the cavemen days, they didn't have vegetables. Well, they had maybe some, but they didn't really have a lot of vegetables because they didn't know how to, this is like before they made fire, but they didn't know how to make a fire. So what they ate was fruit because it was already ripe, right? They didn't farm, so they didn't really know how to grow vegetables, right? So tap into that, okay? You need to understand food. The last one, obviously, is train with a master. For some of y'all might have been called to go to somewhere in Asia. It depends on the person, depends on your lineage, it depends on your ancestry. But some of y'all have been called to train with a grand master. Go do that, okay? And then the other one is to be in nature more, okay? Be in abundance more, because nature is really, it's limitless at its root, right? When you plant one plant, it doesn't confine itself to a small space, right? It's gonna grow. It's just gonna grow and grow and grow. and it's gonna grow as much as it can until it feels like a blockage or something, or if you put like a fence around it or a concrete block around it, then it's gonna stop growing, right? But really, if you put a plant in a forest, it's just gonna keep on growing, right? So you really wanna spend a lot of time in nature. Same thing in the water. If y'all can go to the beach, okay? The beach is like such a great place of abundance. If y'all don't have a beach where you're at, go to the nearest lake or river or stream. But because water has infinite depths, right? So when you really want to start doing this work, connecting to God, start living in your God body, start seeing the world as connected to you, and not something separate from you, I would start working with water, being around water a lot more, being in places that are wet. So a lot of places that rain a lot, or if it rains really heavy when it rains too, that would be good to go. Deserts can also help, but deserts more work with that earth. It's like more of an earth element. And so if you're doing healing work, I would go to the desert. That's really going to help you with that healing work. A lot of, not a lot, but if you know about peyote, that comes from the desert, right? Because it's a healing plant. So if you want to do more healing work, that type of supernatural abilities to heal, you go to the earth, right? And then of course, when it comes to like being a light body and floating and stuff like that, you want to go to the air, right? Which is going to be more in Asia. That's where you're going to find a lot of those kind of grandmasters. So if you want to work with fire, then you go to Europe because that's where the fire people are, right? So a lot of y'all, maybe not a lot of y'all watching, but I know some people who do like how do you want to call it? The fire. I call them the fire people. I forgot what they do. You know what I'm talking about? They have like the stick and then the fire on each side. Anyway, but usually it's white people doing this work, right? Because they are the fire people, so they work with fire a lot. So if you want to work with that element in terms of your supernatural abilities, you go with them, okay? But my point is, I just wanted to give y'all like basically a whole list of ways to really start to get and tap into your supernatural abilities. Again, at a basic level, okay? You need to start doing your psychic ability work, okay? Telekinesis, telepathy, but telepathy in the whole spectrum. So a lot of us, we kind of experience this passive telepathy, right? But it's time to actually start sending like messages to other people and receiving messages from other people, okay? And if y'all want to know more about that, the link is in the description below, because that's some of the stuff I would not put on here. I would not put on Facebook. That's only for the school. So, but that's what y'all need to do. Start tapping into those psychic abilities, okay? At a minimum. That's really going to help you tap into the perception of living in a limitless reality, so that you can then up your level, up your supernatural abilities, up your psychic abilities, so that you can really start to tap into your God body that you have, okay? So that's going to be it for today. You guys make sure to like and subscribe and click on the link below. Right now, I have a 50% off sale on my website. But really, more than that, if y'all want to really tap into any of this even more in depth and work with me, you need to look at that link, okay? Because again, there's some stuff I'm not going to say on here. I'm just not going to say on here, okay? So I love y'all so much, and I will see y'all on Sunday, okay? Peace.